In this video, I'm going to show you how to sew the bottom of the Rockport basket to the sides. Now, again, the Rockport basket comes in 3 sizes, large, medium, and the wine carrier, and the bottom is sewn on the same in all cases. The size or shape may be just slightly different. So, to sew the bottom on, you've pinned all the way around the bottom. And again, you're just pinning straight through the edge of the sides of the bottom and then down into the sides. You want to make sure that this vertical binding is straight. When I flip it up like that, you can see it's a little crooked. So you want to make sure that that vertical binding is straight. And you can use clips or pins or whatever. I just like to pin it so that it's nice and straight, right up and down. You're going to use a double strand of thread. Now this is a much thicker thread than you would if you were piecing a quilt. It's a 12-weight cotton, and you can get Sulky, Orifil makes it. There's a variety of brands that make a 12-weight cotton. It's a much thicker thread. So 2 strands of 12-weight cotton, and I use a milliner's needle, and I like the size 7 milliner's needle. These, the Richard Hemming milliner's needles have a large eye, so the thicker thread fits through the eye of the needle very well. Use a double strand and tie a knot in the end. That knot, when you're sewing the bottom of the basket, will be hidden between the bottom of the basket has 2 layers. Just slide your needle in between the middle of those 2 layers, and also out in the ditch on the other side. You may want to use a thimble as you're doing this. And then you're going to go back through. Can you see the needle right there? Right at the very top, this is the binding for the side, right at the very top of that binding. Now you can see I've already taken some stitches through here. So you can see, using a yellow thread, you can see my stitches right there. And I'll show you how to make those in a minute. So I'm just going to leave this needle here for a minute because I'll use it to show you how to tack this edge. So to sew the bottom on, you are using a whip stitch. Make sure that the edge of the bottom and your binding lines up, the binding on the edge of your side lines up nicely. So what you will do is you'll take your needle and you will go in the first layer of the bottom. If you see this, the bottom has 2 layers, and they're both bound, and then you've got the binding on the side. Go in just in the fabric only. It will be very easy to sew right through the fabric only. And then you want to go in, go across about 1/4 of an inch, and down into the binding on the side. Pull tight. Go in a little bit behind where you came out, out of the binding on the side. So go into that first binding on the bottom, go across about 1/4 of an inch, out through the binding on the side. Pull tight. In, across 1/4 of an inch, down to the side binding, pull tight. In, down, pull tight. Remove your pins as you go. Okay, in, down, pull tight. Now you will get your thread caught on the needles that or the pins that are attaching the bottom to the sides, but just be patient. In, across, and down. Now you see how easy that is when I'm just going through the fabric only? Just in, across, and down. If you happen to get caught into the interfacing, and I'm going to purposely do it right here, I'm going to go way in and out. Make sure that you've got one of these needle pullers close by. Just take the end of the needle and pull with that. So just in, across, and down very easily. So you'll do that all the way around. You want to use a coordinated thread because you will see, you can see the dots right there. You will see a little bit of your thread. So sew all the way around, and when you get to the end, what you want to do is, I call this the underlap. Now it's underlapping on the top and it's underlapping on the bottom. So I want to attach those two together. So I will simply go through, and this is after I've gone all the way around, and your pins will all be gone. So go right straight through to the inside. My pin is right there, if you can see that. So I'll pull that through. Now the first stitch that you do, it's going to pull that underlap a little bit, but don't worry about it. So pull it all the way through, and then you're going to come back out. This is just to attach the underlap. You're tacking it together. Now, when you go in, you're going to do this all the way across the bottom and up this center binding strip. When you go in at an angle so that your stitches are really far apart. So go in at an angle. This is where you might have to use that needle puller. And then when you come out straight out. So you can see that my stitch, that's my first stitch, this is the second stitch, it's about 1 inch apart. So this part should go fairly quickly if you don't get your thread caught in little knots. So in and out. Again, you want to go in at an angle. So you've got a big long stitch. And then you want to come out, again, place your needle so it's very close to where you came out so you don't see the stitch on the inside. Come straight out, and you want to be as close to that ditch as you possibly can. So straight out, in at a very, very, very long angle. And then once you're in there, you're going to come straight out. If you come out to the outside, very close to where your needle has come through, your stitches won't show. And that would be a good thing. So again, in at a really big angle so that you're taking about 1 stitch every inch. You shouldn't have too many stitches to tack this together. And then you want to come straight out. See how quickly I'm moving up the side? In at an angle. and straight out, and so forth, all the way along here, right in that ditch, and then across the top, so that you've tacked down this underlap on 3 sides. Now it will still be open on the inside of the bag, it will still be open on this side, but these 3 sides will all be tacked down, so it should be pretty secure. So that is it to sewing the bottom to the sides.